Have you ever found yourself trying to speak English, but your brain just freezes? You know the words, you've studied grammar, but when it's time to speak, everything feels slow and confusing. That's probably because you're still thinking in your native language and then trying to translate every word into English. This is one of the biggest reasons why many people struggle to speak fluently. Imagine this. You want to say something simple like, I'm going to the market. But instead of just saying it, your brain first thinks in your own language, then tries to find the English words one by one, and finally, you speak. This process takes time, and it makes you speak slowly. It also makes you doubt yourself, and you might get nervous or forget words. This is a very common problem for English learners around the world. But here's the good news. You can change that. You can train your brain to think in English, just like native speakers do. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to know every word. You just need the right approach and regular practice. Thinking in English doesn't mean you need to know difficult words or advanced grammar. It means you use simple English in your everyday thoughts, so speaking becomes easier and more natural. In this video, I'm going to show you how to think in English smartly. We'll talk about practical techniques you can use every day, even if you're at home, at school, or commuting. I'll also share some helpful mindset tips, because fluency is not just about words, it's also about how you feel and how you practice. So whether you're a beginner or someone who's been learning English for years, this video is for you. Stay with me till the end, because by the time we finish, you'll have a clear and simple plan to start thinking and speaking in English more confidently. Let's get started. Why we don't think in English naturally. Now, before we learn how to think in English, it's important to understand why we usually don't. And trust me, you are not alone. Every English learner, whether beginner or advanced, faces these same issues at some point. So let's talk about the common reasons that stop us from thinking naturally in English. 1. Native language interference. The first and biggest reason is our native language. From the moment we're born, we grow up thinking and speaking in our first language. So naturally, our brain is more comfortable using it. When we start learning English, our brain still tries to translate everything from our own language into English. For example, if you speak Hindi or Spanish or Arabic, your brain first forms the sentence in that language, and then you try to change the words into English. This habit is hard to break, and it's slow. That's why your speaking may feel unnatural or delayed. 2. Fear of making mistakes. The second problem is fear. Many learners are afraid of making mistakes. You might think, what if I say it wrong? Or, what if people laugh at me? This fear makes your brain panic. And when you're under pressure, you naturally go back to your first language. You stop thinking in English because you don't want to say the wrong thing. But guess what? Making mistakes is part of learning. Every fluent speaker you know made hundreds of mistakes before becoming confident. The key is not to fear mistakes, but to learn from them. 3. Limited vocabulary and grammar pressure. Another reason is the feeling that you don't know enough words or grammar rules. You might ask yourself, how can I think in English if I don't know many words? Or, what if my grammar is wrong? This kind of thinking can actually block your progress. The truth is, you don't need to use difficult words to think in English. In fact, native speakers often use very simple words in everyday conversation. Also, perfect grammar is not the goal when you're thinking. You're not writing a textbook. You're just building fluency. So don't wait until you've mastered everything. Start small, start simple, and grow step by step. 4. Lack of practice in real-life situations. Lastly, we don't think in English because we often don't use English in real life. Many learners only study English in the classroom or from books. But in daily life, they switch back to their native language. If you only use English during lessons, your brain doesn't get enough practice to switch its thinking mode. To truly build the habit, you need to make English a part of your daily routine, even if you're just speaking to yourself or thinking quietly in your mind. When we understand these problems, we can find smart solutions. And that's exactly what we'll do in the next part of this video. Let's now look at why thinking in English is not only possible, but incredibly powerful, and how it can totally change the way you speak and feel in English. Benefits of thinking in English. Now that we understand why most people don't think in English naturally, let's talk about why you should start doing it, and how it can totally change your fluency journey. Thinking in English is one of the smartest habits you can build as a learner, and it comes with some powerful benefits. 1. Faster speaking. Let's begin with the most obvious benefit. You speak faster. When you think in your native language and translate word by word into English, your brain takes extra time. That delay can make you hesitate, forget words, or speak in a broken way. But when you start thinking in English, even in small phrases, your brain gets used to forming sentences directly in English. This speeds up your speaking and helps you become more fluent. You won't have to pause as much. Your words will come out smoother and more naturally, even if you're using simple language. 2. Better fluency and confidence. When you think in English, you're actually training your brain to use English like a real-life skill, not just something you study in a classroom. This improves your overall fluency. You start to flow from thought to word without stopping. And with fluency comes confidence. You'll feel more comfortable speaking because you're no longer second-guessing yourself or translating in your head. You'll trust yourself more, and that trust turns into real confidence when you speak to others. 3. More natural understanding. Thinking in English also improves your listening and understanding. You see, when your brain is used to English sentence patterns and vocabulary, it becomes easier to understand native speakers or English media. You begin to recognize not just individual words, but the meaning behind whole sentences. You'll start to feel the language instead of decoding every word. This leads to more natural comprehension, which is especially helpful when watching movies, listening to conversations, or even reading books. 4. Saves time. No more mental translation. Let's be honest, translating takes time, and it can be exhausting. Your brain is constantly working double, first in your language, then in English. But once you begin to think in English, you cut that process in half. You no longer need to find the perfect word in your language, translate it, and then say it. You simply think and speak in the same language, English. This saves time, energy, and effort, and it makes learning much more enjoyable. In short, thinking in English is like giving your brain a shortcut to fluency. It helps you speak quicker, listen better, and feel more confident, all while making the learning process easier and more fun. Now that you know the benefits, let's move forward and learn how to actually build this habit with smart, simple techniques you can start using today. How to think in English smartly. All right, now comes the most important part of this video, how to actually start thinking in English. Don't worry, you don't need to be advanced or perfect to begin. In fact, the smart way is to start small, stay consistent, and slowly train your brain like a muscle. Let's go step by step. 1. Start with simple words and sentences. The best way to start thinking in English is by using basic, daily vocabulary. You don't need big words or complex grammar. Think about the things you say every day. I'm hungry. I like coffee. Today is Monday. These are the kinds of sentences your brain can handle easily. And here's a smart trick. Speak to yourself in English. You don't need anyone around. Just say simple things out loud or in your head. The more you do this, the faster your brain will get used to it. 2. Describe what you see and do. A great daily habit is to describe your surroundings and your actions in English. This builds real-life thinking. For example, when you're getting ready in the morning, think, I'm brushing my teeth. This is a blue shirt. I'm opening the door. These small sentences help you create a natural link between your thoughts and the English language. It's like turning your day into an English lesson without even opening a book. 3. Use an English dictionary. Many learners use dictionaries that translate into their native language, but this can slow you down. Instead, try using an English dictionary. This helps you learn words in English context, not just their translation. For example, if you look up the word happy, the dictionary might say feeling good or pleased. That gives you extra vocabulary and teaches you how to explain words using English, which is a powerful way to build thinking skills. Internal dialogue practice. You don't need to speak out loud all the time to practice. Just spend a few minutes a day having a small conversation in your mind, in English. Ask yourself questions like, what should I eat today? Or, what did I do yesterday? Then answer in simple English. You can even imagine talking to a friend or teacher. This is called internal dialogue, and it's one of the easiest ways to practice thinking in English anywhere, anytime. 5. Learn sentence patterns, not just words. Fluent speakers don't memorize every sentence. They use patterns. For example, phrases like, I want to, can I, I'm going to, are used again and again in daily English. When you learn and practice these sentence patterns, you start to build language blocks in your brain. These blocks help you create full sentences quickly without overthinking. You'll feel more fluent and sound more natural. 6. Surround yourself with English. Passive immersion. You don't always have to actively study to learn. Try surrounding yourself with English in your free time. Watch English shows or YouTube videos listen to English podcasts, or read short articles. Don't worry if you don't understand every word. Just focus on the meaning. Over time, your brain starts to recognize sentence structures, tone, and rhythm. This kind of passive learning helps you think in English more automatically. 7. Practice speaking out loud. Thinking is great, but speaking is what makes it stronger. Try to say your thoughts out loud in English, even if it's just a few sentences. You can use the shadowing technique, which means repeating what you hear from a movie or audio clip. This helps improve pronunciation, speed, and thinking ability. You can also talk to yourself about your day or even record your voice. Listening to yourself helps build confidence and shows where you can improve. 8. Be patient. Fluency takes time. Finally, and most importantly, be patient with yourself. Thinking in English won't happen overnight. At first, it might feel slow or even frustrating. That's normal. The goal is not to be perfect. The goal is to make small progress every day. Celebrate when you catch yourself thinking in English without trying. That means it's working. Stay consistent, and over time, your brain will become more comfortable using English naturally. These small but powerful steps are what help you think in English smartly, not by force, but by habit. You don't need more textbooks. You need more practice, more patience, and a plan that fits into your real life. Now that you know how to do it, let's quickly go over some common mistakes to avoid so you can stay on the right path. Common mistakes to avoid. Before you start practicing thinking in English, it's important to understand what not to do. Many learners build bad habits without even realizing it, and these habits can slow down progress or even make you feel stuck. Let's go over a few of the most common mistakes and how you can avoid them smartly. 1. Thinking word by word. One of the biggest mistakes English learners make is trying to think word by word instead of in phrases or full ideas. This usually happens when someone tries to translate every single word from their native language into English. The problem? English sentence structure is often different from your first language. So when you translate word by word, your sentences sound unnatural, and you get stuck more easily. For example, let's say you want to say, I'm going to work, but you think, I am going to... What is the word for work again? This slows you down and makes your brain work harder. A smarter way is to practice common phrases or sentence chunks like, I'm going to, or I have to. This way, your brain doesn't need to stop after every word. It can just flow. 2. Fear of errors. Another big mistake is being too afraid of making mistakes. Maybe you worry about your grammar, pronunciation, or choosing the wrong word. And because of that, you stop yourself from thinking or speaking in English. But here's the truth. Mistakes are not bad. They are signs that you are learning. Think about how babies learn to speak. They make many mistakes, but they don't care. They keep talking, and that's why they learn quickly. You need to give yourself that same permission. Don't wait for perfect English. Just start using what you know. The more you practice, the more your brain will learn from experience, not from being perfect. 3. waiting for the perfect sentence. Many learners don't start speaking or thinking in English because they're always waiting to form the perfect sentence in their minds. They think, is this grammar correct? Or should I say, I went, or I have gone? While you're thinking so much, the conversation has already moved on. Here's the reality. Communication is more important than perfection. If your sentence isn't 100% perfect but people understand you, that's a success. Thinking too much about the correct version will only slow you down. Instead, focus on getting your message across with the words you know. Over time, the grammar and vocabulary will improve naturally. By avoiding these common mistakes, you'll save yourself from a lot of frustration. Remember, fluency is not about using big words or perfect grammar. It's about expressing your thoughts smoothly and confidently. And that only happens when you allow yourself to think, speak, and even make a few mistakes along the way. Mindset tips for long-term success. Now that you've learned how to think in English smartly and what mistakes to avoid, let's talk about something just as important: your mindset. Building fluency is not just about technique. It's also about how you think about the process itself. If your mindset is strong, you'll stay motivated even when progress feels slow. So here are some simple but powerful tips to help you succeed in the long run. 1. Be consistent. A little. Every day goes a long way. Fluency doesn't come from doing a lot once in a while. It comes from doing a little every day. Just 10 or 15 minutes of thinking in English daily can make a huge difference over time. The key is consistency, not perfection. Even if you're tired or busy, try to fit in a few minutes of English thinking while brushing your teeth, walking to work, or lying in bed at night. Over time, your brain will start to think in English automatically without you even trying. That's the real power of daily practice. 2. Stay positive. Don't fear mistakes. Many learners feel frustrated when they can't find the right words or when they make mistakes. But here's the truth. Making mistakes is part of the process. It's not something to feel bad about. It's something to learn from. Instead of thinking, I'm not good at this, change the thought to, I'm learning. This is how fluency is built. Try to notice your progress, no matter how small it is. Maybe today you remembered a new word while thinking in English. Maybe yesterday you spoke without translating. Celebrate that. Staying positive keeps your brain open and relaxed, and that makes learning easier and faster. 3. Track your growth. Use journals or voice notes. Another smart way to stay motivated is to track your progress. This helps you see how far you've come, and it reminds you that your hard work is paying off. You can keep a simple English journal where you write 1 or 2 sentences about your day in English. Or you can record your voice once a week and talk about anything: your plans, your feelings, or your routine. Later, when you listen to your old recordings, you'll be surprised at how much you've improved. Tracking also helps you notice which words or sentence patterns you're using more often, and where you still need practice. It makes learning feel real and personal, and that keeps you engaged for the long term. Fluency is not a finish line. It's a journey, and like any journey, it comes with ups and downs. But if you stay consistent, keep a positive attitude, and track your growth, you will absolutely move forward. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. So, let's quickly go over what we've learned in this video. We started by understanding why thinking in English is important. We saw how translating from your native language slows you down and makes speaking harder. Then we talked about the common problems that most learners face, like native language interference, fear of mistakes, limited vocabulary, and not enough real-life practice. Next, we explored the benefits of thinking in English: faster speaking, better fluency, more confidence, and saving time by skipping mental translation. After that, we broke it all down into smart, practical steps you can start using today, like using simple English, describing your actions, using an English-English dictionary, practicing internal dialogue, and more. We also looked at some common mistakes to avoid, like thinking word by word, fearing errors, and waiting for the perfect sentence. And finally, we talked about the right mindset, being consistent, staying positive, and tracking your growth with simple tools like journals or voice notes. Now here's the most important part. Practice a little every day. Even 5 or 10 minutes of thinking in English can build fluency over time. Start today. Think in English while making breakfast, walking, or before sleeping. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. If this video helped you or gave you a new idea, please give it a like so others can find it too. I'd also love to hear from you. Leave a comment and tell me how you practice thinking in English, or share a tip that works for you. And if you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss future lessons. Thanks so much for watching. And remember, your fluency journey starts in your mind. Think in English, speak with confidence, and keep going. You've got this.